The coffee is hot, but the silence is colder. You sit across from someone you love and realize you're discussing grocery lists like co-workers filling out a spreadsheet. This is how relationship burnout begins. And yes, it's the same word you hear at work. It drains energy, blunts affection, and convinces you that this slow fade is just how long-term love has to feel. On Whispered Hearts English, we talk about what happens between the calendar moments, the commute home when the radio fills the gaps that used to be laughter, the moment you reach for your phone in bed instead of your partner's hand. If any of that touches a nerve, you're exactly where you need to be. Picture a US suburb at dusk, porch lights clicking on one by one. Inside a kitchen, two people who used to meet in the middle now stand at opposite countertops. The air smells like reheated leftovers and the faint spice of old conversation. Burnout rarely shouts. It whispers until you stop listening. Here's the part many couples miss. Burnout doesn't announce itself with a dramatic fight. It shows up as distance you can rationalize and routines you call normal. Have you noticed that quiet drift creeping into your own evenings lately? But there's something even quieter holding love together, and you can feel when it loosens. Emotional detachment is that slow, chilly breeze in a familiar room. You still do the tasks, share the space, and trade updates about schedules. What fades is the sense that your inner world matters to the person across from you. You'll notice it in small exchanges. You offer a story about your day and watch their eyes glaze over like a car idling at a red light. You get home to a tidy house and a partner who feels like a polite roommate. Have you spotted a moment this week when your feelings felt unshared or uninvited? Research shows that constant stress shrinks our emotional bandwidth. When energy is low, people protect themselves by shutting down, not lashing out. That's why emotional exhaustion in relationships often looks like silence, not storms. If you've been interpreting quiet as safety, check again and see if it's actually a warning light. But there's a twist most people overlook before they try to talk it out for hours. Sometimes conversation can't land because the system is too depleted to receive it. Think of it like trying to stream a movie on 1 bar of cell service. What if the first step isn't more talk, but sparking a little energy back into the connection? Novelty reawakens attention. It doesn't need to be a grand vacation, just a nudge that says, we're alive, together, right now. Drive to a different grocery store and let yourselves pick one new ingredient you've never cooked with. Walk a new route in your neighborhood and notice the porch with the wind chimes or the mural by the community garden. Which small change would you be willing to try this week? On a summer evening, the air is warm and humming with crickets. You spread a blanket in the backyard and share your favorite childhood snacks as if you're teenagers trading secrets again. Novelty is not about money or spectacle. It's the signal that your relationship is still a place where surprise can happen. Here's a quick experiment to shake off routine without pressure. Set a timer for 10 minutes and play a game of rapid choices. City break or national park, red sauce or white sauce, snow day movie marathon or spring rain walk with umbrellas. You'll learn more in those 10 minutes of playful discovery than in an hour of tired small talk. What 2 choices popped into your mind just now? But even surprise needs a soft landing. Novelty can rekindle spark, yet it won't sustain warmth if the emotional battery is drained. Burnout is solved not only by doing different things, but by doing restorative things on purpose. This is where emotional recharge rituals carry the weight that talk alone cannot. Think of a simple rhythm that tells your nervous systems, we're safe with each other. It might be a 10-minute reunion ritual after work, where phones stay on the entry table. One person shares 3 feelings from the day, while the other listens without fixing anything. Then you switch. Would 10 protected minutes change the way your evening feels? Therapists report that small daily rituals create outsized returns. A 2-breath pause before hard conversations can cut defensiveness and keep your hearts facing the same direction. A 5-minute gratitude exchange at night trains your attention toward what's working. If appreciation feels rusty, start with one specific thank you can describe in concrete detail. There's also the quiet power of solo energy. Relationship self-care isn't selfish. It's maintenance for the engine that carries you both. The morning jog under crisp winter air, the book in a sunny corner, the hour of music with noise-cancelling headphones. When you return to your partner fuller, you return more available. What do you do alone that leaves you kinder afterward? Conflict still happens, even with rituals. Healthy repair is the difference between a bruise and a break. Picture a heated exchange by the sink, voices too sharp for a Sunday afternoon. One of you notices the tight jaw, the shallow breathing, and says, "Pause, I want to get this right." You both take 2 slow breaths. Then someone adds, "I hear you. You felt dismissed when I joked about the budget. I'm sorry for that. Let's try again." Repair is specific and timely. It names the impact, not the character of the person. It includes a small action you can take now, like writing down a plan or choosing quiet time before revisiting the topic. Have you tried naming the impact of your words and offering one concrete repair in the moment? If you've made it this far, you're doing the brave work. And if you're feeling a pang of loneliness inside your own home, I want you to hear this. Midway through the journey, people often wonder if their love is uniquely broken. Here at Whispered Hearts, English, you are not alone and you are not too late. This space is for steady, hopeful repair, not perfection. But there's something even more practical we can do together, starting right now. A 7-day reset can shift momentum without demanding a total life overhaul. Think of it as a gentle challenge you tailor to your life, not a test you can fail. Ready to try it for just 1 week? On the first evening, create a tiny ceremony to mark the reset. Light a candle on the coffee table, sit on the couch with your knees turned toward each other, and share one sentence. Here's what I miss, and here's what I hope. Keep it short. Then do something novel for 20 minutes, like dancing in the kitchen to an old playlist or making pancakes for dinner on a Wednesday. What first night touch would make this feel real for you? The next morning, start a micro-ritual of contact. A 6-second hug before anyone checks a screen. 6 seconds is long enough to tell your nervous system that you have a team. Later that day, send one text that is purely appreciation without a request attached. What would you appreciate today if you were looking for it? Midweek, plan an energy-positive activity that requires minimal prep. A walk during your lunch break where you trade one story each about something that surprised you as a kid. A 10-minute stretch on the living room rug while you pick a new travel destination to Google for 15 minutes. Keep it playful. If it becomes a chore, you're not doing it wrong. You're doing too much. As the weekend approaches, include a seasonal cue to ground you both in time. If it's autumn, kick through a pile of leaves together on a neighborhood path. If it's spring, step onto the porch after a light rain and listen to the soft drip from the gutters. Let your senses remind you that life still moves, and love can too. Which season are you in right now, and how could it show up in your next shared hour? On the 5th or 6th day, schedule a gentle check-in with a format you repeat. You each answer 3 prompts: what I noticed, what I appreciated, what I'm needing more of. No cross-examination, no rebuttals. If an issue surfaces, park it and plan a time to address it with the 2-breath start. Could these 3 prompts give your next conversation a safer shape? By the 7th day, close the loop with a small celebration that fits your world. 2 scoops from the ice cream shop after dinner, a movie night with the phones charging in another room, a toast at the kitchen island to the effort, not the outcome. Then decide 1 ritual to keep and 1 novelty to try next week. Which one would you keep if you could only keep 1? But perhaps you're wondering about the bigger picture. What if your schedules are chaotic, your budget tight, and your energy even tighter? Then your ritual is permission to be imperfect and present. Choose the smallest actions that still feel alive, and let consistency, not intensity, carry you forward. A word on affection when you're tired. Warmth regrows from micro moments. A hand on the shoulder while passing in the hallway. A kiss on the forehead before you leave for the day. A whispered, "I'm on your side" when the house is quiet. These are not small things. They're stitches in a fabric you both wear. Sometimes burnout hides beneath old hurts. If you find yourselves looping the same argument, pull back and try naming the pattern you're in, not the person you're with. We keep doing that thing where I withdraw and you pursue, and it scares us both. Naming the dance reduces shame and makes space for gentler steps. What would you call your pattern if you described it as a dance? There's power in planning delight, not just problem solving. Put 1 tiny adventure on the calendar this month. A cheap matinee on a Sunday afternoon. A sunrise drive with thermoses of coffee to a spot that overlooks the city. A board game on the floor with the living room lamp dimmed to a warm glow. Which tiny adventure sounds doable this month? But don't forget the fuel inside you. If you are nearing empty, take a half hour to refill in the way that works for you. Stretch by the bedroom window, where the late afternoon light gathers. Journal on the back porch while the neighborhood dog walkers pass. Return and tell your partner, "I took this time so I can bring you more of me." How might you refill today, even briefly? Research shows that gratitude changes what your mind notices. When you name 1 thing you appreciate daily, your brain starts scanning for more. Thank your partner for finishing the dishes, even if they piled up first. Appreciate the way they lock the door every night, or always remember the mail. What's 1 thing you could thank them for by name? Repair remains your superpower when missteps happen. Try this after a rough exchange. "I can see you tensing up and I want to slow down." The way I said that sounded like a judgment, not a need. Here's what I actually need, and here's 1 small step I'm willing to take. Repair is an invitation to safety you can extend at any moment. Think about the seasons of your relationship. Summer warmth when everything feels effortless. The crispness of winter when closeness must be chosen and crafted. Neither is better. Both ask for different care. When your season changes, your rituals should too. What season are you in, and what care does it want? If you two feel stuck in a rut, borrow a practice from long friendships. Tell each other the origin story of how you met. But this time, include the parts you don't usually tell. The doubts you had. The small signs that pulled you closer. You'll remember that your love didn't start with certainty. It started with attention and choice. There's also wisdom in boundaries that protect your shared space. Put your phones to bed on the kitchen counter 30 minutes before you sleep. Leave work conversations on a notepad near the door instead of carrying them into the bedroom. Your brain learns the geography of safety. It will follow the map you draw. Some evenings, the only right move is a reset. Open a window and let in the cool night air. Sit on the couch without a show playing and say, "Let's be quiet together for 2 minutes." When the timer ends, share one thing that would make tomorrow feel more connected. Could 2 quiet minutes become your restart button? Remember that change often feels awkward at first. The first time you try a reunion ritual, someone might laugh or roll their eyes. That's okay. Awkward is the bridge to alive. Keep the stakes low and the affection high. Novelty and ritual aren't competing, they're teammates. If you're someone who needs structure, write your tiny plan on a sticky note and put it on the fridge. Tonight, hug, candle, 3 feelings. Wednesday, walk and 1 new street. Saturday, tiny adventure. When life gets loud, your note holds the shape of your promise. And if you're listening to this alone, you still have power. The way you show up can shift the dance. Offer the hug. Propose the short walk. Share appreciation without keeping score. Sincere effort is contagious. Where will you begin? Just for today. As we close, take a breath and picture a small, vivid moment you want to feel again. Laughter in a car on an open road. The peaceful weight of your partner's head on your shoulder during a Sunday movie. The soft patter of spring rain against the window while you talk about nothing and everything. That life is not gone. It's waiting for your daily yes. If this resonated, tell me one way you recharge your relationship in the comments. Your idea might be exactly what another couple needs to hear tonight. And if our stories at Whispered Hearts English make you feel a little less alone, know that you belong here, and your love is worth the care you're giving it. Love doesn't disappear in an instant. It fades when we stop tending it. Now you have a gentle place to begin again. Start with novelty that wakes you up. Build rituals that calm you down, and repair in ways that draw you close. That's how you handle relationship burnout before it's too late. One quiet, courageous day at a time.